10 minutes ago is I think like the last three things you did didn't make it, but the rest did.
Oh, the robot in the video.
We're live. Hello, everybody. I'm here with Gick. Hello, Gick.
Hello, good evening.
I
Well, it's afternoon for you, right?
Yes, yes. It is 3 p.m. almost.
No, that's evening. It's time for bed now.
I mean, every day around 5 p.m. I start thinking about going to sleep. So, like, it is almost bedtime.
You want to know something?
Yeah.
I've started thinking of going to sleep basically every hour of the day now. There's just so little sleep.
Last night, I like laid in bed at like 11:30, and I set my alarm for 5:30. I said I'm gonna wake up at 5:30 no matter what, and I was not tired at all at 11:30. Like I just laid in bed. I was like, I'm not getting up. I'm not opening my eyes. We're laying until you go to sleep. I like filibustered my body. And I did not go to sleep until like 4 a.m. I just laid there for like 4 hours, just with my eyes closed. I'm like, this is close enough. This is. I don't know why I couldn't sleep. And I woke up at 5:30, so I got like an hour and a half of sleep last night.
No, that sounds like it's enough, to be honest. By the way, could you stream to me so I can see
Oh
what
yeah.
the audience sees?
You can. Yeah, I can do that. I wish the thing were smart enough to just like automatically do that instead of having to press a button. I also wish I didn't have to press multiple buttons. It'd be nice if it were just one button. Uh, anyways, there's kind of two topics that I wanted to talk about, and those are Ivanivska and Avdiivka. Nothing else really interests me, to be honest. I don't know about you, but Ivanivska is interesting to me. Did we have that? Oh, my map. God, Google broke again. I'll fix it. I'll fix it while you talk. Anyway, have you did you read about Ivanivska today, or did you not?
No, I jumped right into watching videos and trying to get locations. I didn't have time to read anything.
Okay, so I hate Google so much. Have I ever said that? But see, like this part of my map is just missing because Google, just because Google. That's my reasoning. Um, we don't have much information from Ivanivska in the form of video. I think there was a video today. I don't think we have it in the spreadsheet though, which is weird. Maybe we do, we just didn't do it yet. But basically yesterday the Ukrainians were talking about how the Russians had advanced significantly towards Ivanivska. And this is a town that is north of Klashivka. So it's like southwest from Bakhmut. And yesterday, the Russians advanced. The Ukrainians said it was pretty significantly towards Ivanivska. And today, the Russians have been flaunting this video of them advancing. I don't think we have the video. I don't remember it being in our spreadsheet. So maybe we just missed it. But I know the Russians are super happy about it. I think I saved their happiness. I saved one of their happy little messages in Telegram. So we might be able to find the video that way. But as soon as I update my map in about 2 seconds, I'm going to show you more. This really annoys me. Okay, so reload. Um, the Ukrainians in this area were like they're kind of upset that they're losing ground near Ivanivska. I don't think anyone really considers it like to be a big deal, but they're kind of upset because um, the town of Ivanivska is really important for Klashivka because you can assault Klashivka from Ivanivska. So that's what's making them upset. And from what I understand, this forest is what Russia, I think, captured. So this forest just north of Klashivka, and they're kind of moving up, because they've been moving through these kind of dacha areas, right? And they've been moving like they tried moving along this ridge to the north of Klashivka to take this defensive position, but they failed. And now apparently they've been moving through this forest. We've seen so many videos of this forest of it getting just shelled to pieces with like every form of artillery. There's like cluster munitions and airstrikes and toss and everything, like every single type of munition. And it seems that Russia may have captured this yesterday or today. And yeah, so that's kind of the issue of Ivanivska. So this is where it is. It's right next to Bakhmut. It is a town that Ukraine never lost. It got close to being assaulted. Like Russia was like moving up these tree lines, and they're like on this road, and they're moving up this tree line, and they're in this forest. But they never actually made it to the town. And one of the key features of this town are the basements in the houses, especially the houses on these outskirts. These basements are really good, apparently. Anyway, so that's kind of one thing that is kind of new, I guess, and it shows a difference. But yeah, this is the town I'm talking about. This is, I believe, this is the forest that Russia is claiming to have captured. I believe there's a video. We don't have it in the spreadsheet. I don't think we geolocated it, but it has been. I'm pretty sure it's been geolocated at this forest by others. Oh, did you see any of that today when you were telegramming?
No, not at all. That's why I'm completely surprised that you tell me that there should have been a geolocation there.
Yeah, let me see if I can find their happiness. This was like one of the things that the Russians were happy about today. This and the airplane thing. I don't know if you want to talk about the airplane thing. I kind of don't want to, but you can if you want.
The IL shut down in Belgorod.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell that the Russian MOD released a video today, which showed allegedly POWs transported to the plane. They say it's that plane in Moscow. We assume it's Moscow, and there are some traits which fit to the, I think, Cheklovsky or something like that airport. So it might be there, but that video, it just shows someone boarding that plane. It's no proof of anything. Even if they boarded Moscow, it's not very likely that they were on board of that plane, because at least from its path, that plane was going away from Belgorod. Of course, there could be some holding patterns in front of Belgorod airport, such that it could have been descending by flying a circle, which could technically explain why excuse me, why it was going towards the northeast. But that's entirely unlikely. I really don't want to participate in all of the speculation. Yeah. For me, all that matters is that the plane was shot down, the crew is confirmed dead, and the rest is pure speculation and just trying to make something which is most likely simply a good thing for Ukraine, they want you to doubt that. They want you to think about that it might have been a bad thing. And in my opinion, that might just be a psyop. So I focus on a plane being lost and the crew being lost as well.
Yeah, there's just no information to go off of. So I'm completely uninterested in the plane. I'll tell you my reaction when I heard the plane was shot down. My reaction was, why? That was my reaction. It was just, why? Because, like, obviously, in order to shoot down a plane in Belgrade, right? In order to shoot down a plane in Belgrade, they had to have some sort of anti-air assets. I don't know, like somewhere around here, probably like Poltava, something like that, to get them in range. Over the past few days, the whole Kherson region has been getting bombed ridiculously heavily. If you're going to move your air assets anywhere, why wouldn't you move them to Kherson? The only way that I can really understand shooting down that plane is if they thought there was going to be someone very important on the plane. Because otherwise, I can't understand it. It makes no sense to me. Kherson is getting, like, in the spreadsheet right now, we have what? There's a whole bunch of airstrikes that we haven't geolocated yet. I'm gonna do them after the stream. They're really obnoxious to do, but not that hard. But it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 15 airstrikes along the Dnipro River that we haven't located yet, and I'll do later. That's 15 airstrikes. It's and that's just the ones we haven't located yet, because we did a bunch already. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 7 already, and then there's 15 more, and those are just the videos we have. We don't get all the video. That's in one day, more or less. They may not have all literally been on the same day, but it's one day worth of content. It's like Kherson is getting shellacked. And the past few days there have been these police reports. There have been prior airstrikes that we've from the past few days that they've been geolocated. They've been hitting Chervony Mayak. They've been hitting Zimivka, and a lot of the videos today were around Zimivka. They've been hitting Novoberslav. They've been hitting Berislav. They've been hitting Kozatska and Vesela, and they've been hitting Tihinka. They've been hitting Kherson itself with airstrikes and with S-300s last night. They've been hitting basically the entire river with all of these airstrikes, bombers constantly hitting. Some of these videos I see between 3 and 6 bombs hitting simultaneously, which makes me think that they've upgraded their bombers to carry 6 bombs each, because they've been talking about doing that. And then they shoot down a plane in Belgrade. It makes no sense to me.
I mean, of course, you could say that there's a difference between some highly mobile fighter jet releasing a couple of FAPs and, well, an IL. That's a big boy plane which is immobile. But at the same time, if as several people have mentioned, Belgorod Airport is still busy. There are several planes of that size leaving every day. It kind of feels weird that now that particular plane should have been shot down by Ukraine if they could have done that all along. So, but anyway, I really don't think it makes sense to speculate about that. I think it's looking at the facts is the best way to deal with it right now, and the facts are positive for Ukraine, of course.
I just want to see Ukraine shoot down some of these bombers. These bombers are doing a lot of damage. They've been hitting Krynky. They've been hitting all of the supply lines. It's been really bad, these bombers. And it's going to it's continuing to escalate. It's their bombing is now almost as strong as it was before they shot down those planes. Oh, yeah, and I keep wondering, like, they shot down 3, right? So if they shoot down like another 1 or 2 or whatever, like, what would Russia do? Like, I think Russia would freak out.
By the way, did you read Putin's statement today that the IL-76 couldn't have been shot down by Russia because of the friend and foe recognition?
Yeah, that's worked so well in the past.
Yeah, that comes like, I don't know, 1 or 2 weeks after they claim they shot down their own A-50, which is
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's honestly, I can't even laugh at it anymore. I'm just getting angry if I read that, because why does one get away with just saying whatever they want every time? It's, I don't know, it's beyond me.
Yeah. So yesterday we had a video of 2 Ukrainian tanks fighting in Avdiivka. What do you think of these tanks? They were fighting right here. I believe this area of Avdiivka is called the Cottage Town, or something like that. So, they're like on these 2 parallel streets. They kind of roll in. They were shooting at stuff like these houses, like between the 2 streets. Basically, they're both like shooting inwards. So, what do you think?
I think they were able to clean up a lot of area there, because considering how things were in that area, Russia penetrated mostly with infantry. We had the famous video of the Russians penetrating through those pipes. I very much doubt that they were able to take heavy equipment with them through those pipes. So they secured the hotel area through the pipes, and any vehicle or bigger equipment so far that Russia has been trying to get into that area was more or less stopped at around the hotel area.
Yeah.
So I don't think they were able to penetrate the village, with those vehicles. So the tanks cleaning up there might have done some significant process for Ukraine.
Yeah, there are mixed reports over what's going on here. I've seen reports that Russia has completely pulled out and they left entirely, including the hotel. That they've pulled all the way back to basically the railroads. I've also seen things that like they've abandoned the hotel, but they still hold part of the cottage town, which I can't even comprehend.
Well, that would be a very nice thing of the Russians to do. Here, guys, have fun. We're out of here.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I've also heard that this is all just contested. I don't know. I kind of mark it. This is kind of the worst case scenario, the way I've marked it. I don't know. It's like we just need more information, honestly. I could just as easily just mark this all gray area. I don't know. I'm just kind of marking it as a worst case scenario. that's I don't know why. I just kind of am.
Well, to be fair, we kind of do need proof that that Ukraine took it back.
Yeah, because that was kind of my feeling, is that we have proof that Russia did capture all of this, and we don't have any proof that Ukraine kicked them out. Yeah. Although, I think even the Russians at this point are basically saying they're not there anymore. So, yeah,
I mean, and you've seen on the satellite images that most of that village, like most of those houses, probably don't exist.
Yeah, and that reminds me. So, I think I marked this on the map. Yeah. So there was the White Angels are police who work on the front line helping civilians basically, and they were evacuating um these streets. Like I think literally these streets. They were evacuating people. And they said that when they were evacuating people, they were within 300 meters of the Russians. So I'm not sure really what that is. I'm gonna mark point 0.3, and oh no, oh, like this is the furthest extent of the Russians, I guess. So they're like, like that, somewhere in the circles, probably at like, you know, they're within 300 meters of the Russians. So they're evacuating people from these streets basically, and um they were talking about how they went to a house, they evacuated this old lady, and as soon as they left, Russia hit her house with an airstrike. Um, and then they showed like photographs of her house. I think this post has those photos. Um, let's just see if I'm gonna scroll through this video to see if it has anything bad. Because I think it might be good to see what's. Yeah, this is her house.
It's still infuriating, to be honest, that people have to put themselves at this risk to get people out who could have left so long ago.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it that some people are, they don't have anything else, but you're not only putting your own life at risk.
Yeah, it makes me very angry. Like seeing these. I think when they post the White Angel videos, it's supposed to make you feel better, but to me, it just makes me angry. But this is Avdiivka. This is more the that part of the video was like the center of Avdiivka, and this is those houses basically. They say that they're within 300 meters of Russians filming this, and you can't hear it because I'm not playing audio, but you can hear bullets in the background. You just hear like that sort of sound. Um, yeah, in a moment, they're going to show that old lady's house because they're evacuating someone who lives like 2 houses down the street in this video, and this is the old lady's house. They evacuated her, and a few minutes later, got hit by an airstrike. When I first saw this video, the whole time I was thinking, bruh, they hit you with an airstrike last time. Let's hurry it up. It's like, you're taking your time here. Let's pack the car a little faster and get out of here. But yeah, these people they're evacuating, they said their most prized possessions were these 2 German shepherds. There's no way I could keep my dog in Avdiivka. I would have been out of there like 8 years ago, personally. The German Shepherd seems so scared.
If I think about how my cats were behaving on New Year's Eve with a bunch of fireworks, thinking what those animals go through in wartime is, yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, that is their evacuation. So I don't know exactly where this was. We could probably locate it if we really wanted to, but it's somewhere on these streets. Maybe these streets, but it's basically here. The beginning of the video when it was like the middle of the city. That's like here. So this just to keep in mind that right here, like this part of the city is like the heart of Avdiivka. Like this is where all the supplies come through. This is where the majority of the civilians are. This is where you go to get food. This is the hospital. These are the police and the firefighters and all the. That's all here. And the Russians got to like here, so they got to like there. So this is how bad it was. Okay, this is really really bad. How close they got, and this road is like the primary paved road into Avdiivka. And then there's this road that's like the secondary artery. It's not even paved; it's just a dirt road. Okay, so that's how that's what's going on here. So this the Russians breaking into here is one of the worst things that they could have done, and it was vital that Ukraine stabilize this, and it's in, incredibly important that they push Russia all the way back because they cannot let Russia like if Russia moved up like another block or two and they got to like this intersection, then basically the entire eastern side of the city's gone. And they would be on the door. Like, this is the heart of the city. Um, there's questions. Oh, Zenith is right here. Zenith is doing fine. So we know that the southern part of Zenith is getting heavily shelled, and we know that from the satellite imagery, which it showed last time, I think, but we could just show it again. So this is Zenith. You can see the southern part is getting shelled really really hard, and this is the main part of Zenith. I'm actually not showing it, am I? Am I showing it? Can you see it? You can see it, right? Yeah. Okay. So the southern part is getting shelled really hard. This is the main part of Zenith in the top. The northern part is the main defensive line, and then there's just layered defenses south of it. So this is kind of like the outermost defense that's getting shelled, and this is the primary defense. And this road, there's like a road, like a dirt road here, and there's like a highway there that both feed into Zenith. And yeah, all of that's fine. Apparently, there was an assault towards the northern part of Zenith. I don't know how close they got. It may have been out here, honestly. But there was an assault towards the northern part of Zenith, and it made everybody freak out. But it didn't. It failed basically. So everything's fine. Zenith is okay. Lord Flashheart is headed out memberships. He gave out 10 memberships, Gick.
I'm wondering why I never received one.
I have heard that you need to press a button to accept memberships. I've heard that. I don't know if that's actually true. I think there's a setting though. So yeah, and on our little map here, you can see some of these trench lines of Zenith. So these are the little trench lines, and you can see that there are layered defenses. There's multiple lines of trenches. There's these bunkers. All these bunkers are connected underground. So there's an above ground component. There's an underground component. You can move all around. And the northernmost bunker is the primary defensive bunker. So, but yeah, there's that. You kind of talked about the attack on Avdiivka. I guess we could talk about it more because the attack was weird. Do you agree? It was weird. This is not your typical assault.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen. Honestly, it shouldn't happen.
So basically, what happened? I don't even know where that was, to be honest. Where is the reservoir? Honestly, like I don't actually know where that is. This the reservoir? I don't think so.
I never thought about it. I just know it happened. I never looked.
I don't even know. I don't even know where this is. I think this must be it. It has to be. What else? Like, what else would it be? Like, where else is a reservoir?
Well, there's water definitely, but there isn't any pipe entrance that I know of. Oh, actually, there is. Yeah, to the pretty much south of it, there's a little pipe.
How do you see a pipe?
Well, I see it on Google, but it might be that if you turn off your. Actually, let's switch to Apple Maps for the resolution.
How would you even see the pipe? It's less than a meter wide.
Yeah, exactly. That's enough to see it. Yeah, that might not be it. It does look like something might be there.
Anyways, so there's a reservoir here. I don't know where it is because I just looking at this, I don't see a reservoir. To be honest, I don't see a reservoir. But anyways, Russia captured the reservoir at some point. The reservoir that I don't know where it is. But they captured it and they were poking around it and they found that there was a pipe. I don't think I don't think this was literally just a pipe through the ground. That's not how I understand this. From what I understand, there was a pipe. They went into it to see what it was, and then they had to drill holes through it to expand it. And anyway, they used this pipe to basically bypass the defensive line in this general area. And the pipe ended somewhere behind the hotel here, because this is the hotel. So I'll just turn off all the pretty colors. Okay, so I'll turn off that too. Tack directions, current day, everything's off. Okay, so the pipe, I don't know where the pipe ends. It doesn't really matter, but it ends behind this hotel. So somewhere back here. They pushed through like a company or like a reinforced company, maybe. It was like 150 guys. They pushed them through this pipe and they got behind the hotel. They assaulted these positions, both to the north and to the south. When they went south into the hotel, they took out a bunch of Ukrainians who were defending here, and the rest surrendered. And they then had control of this hotel. Apparently, they then tried to push forces through the area, and we saw a whole bunch of vehicles that get destroyed here. They then moved up into this cottage town. People were probably freaking out. They don't know how the Russians got there. They all of a sudden were in combat. We're supposed to be in the rear. Chaos, panic. They captured some towns, some houses, etc. And that was pretty much the attack. This is not your normal attack. This is kind of weird. Kind of weird. Not a smoking pipe, you weirdo. The pipe. I've heard it was as a water pipe. That's how I've heard it described. That it was a point. It was a 0.8 meter wide pipe.
Yeah, I mean they do have pictures of it. I need to try to find them real quick. They do have pictures of soldiers in it. See.
The reservoir is at 1 o'clock on the map.
Yeah, I think it's that one, to be honest.
This one? Is this the reservoir?
Might be. I mean, it does have water, but it seems like it might have been a mine or something.
Honestly, I don't know where. I don't see it. Is this the reservoir? This? Like, it's so far away.
Well, that is a reservoir.
It's so far. How could it They did say it was 2 kilometers. How far is that? I, 4 kilometers? No, there's no way. They said it was 2 kilometers. Zoom out. What do you mean? There's this. That's not it. I don't know what you mean. You say it's at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock would be this way. I'm confused. Anyway, it doesn't really matter where the pipe is.
I just send a picture in our Discord, not a picture, a Telegram link of the alleged pipe.
Okay. Gross. There he is.
Yeah. And I think they said that they had to drain it for the most part. So they were working quite busily on that one.
Yeah, they've had to resort to a lot of mining and underground activity in Avdiivka because they can't move above ground. You know what Ukraine needs to do? Ukraine needs to pull out all their maps of underground passages and detonate them. That's what they need to do. Because this is not the first time Russia has used the underground to attack. Remember when they blew up like a giant hole over here?
Yeah. Actually, it was further south.
Whatever. Like over there.
Yeah, in that village.
Anyways, so that's kind of what happened in Avdiivka. Is a weird thing, not a typical military thing. It was not your typical line your guys up shoulder to shoulder and charge across a minefield that we're used to. All right, so I don't know. Those are kind of the two topics I wanted to talk about. I don't know. Are there any topics you'd like to talk about?
There was one topic which was making us really happy. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday.
Oh yes, it was.
And there's a reason that our most hated Telegram channel, which posts one video of 2 minutes with, I don't know, 90 segments of FPV drone strikes, that channel wasn't posting anything today.
They haven't, have they? Although that other channel made up for it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that was Ukrainian, so.
It felt the same though. It actually felt worse. It felt like they were making fun of them. But yeah, these guys they got wrecked. They got absolutely wrecked. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So this channel, there's so many reasons we don't like them. You went through all of them basically, but the things are that first they post the most obnoxious videos. They're so annoying. I hate them. Second, they're really good drone pilots. Third, they have really good technology, and I don't like that. They have like the best night vision out of all the drone units I've seen. I think they have the most money, to be honest. I really think that they're either funded by a very wealthy person or they're directly funded by the Russian military. I think they pretend to be like self-funded with fundraisers, but they're not. Some of their drones cost thousands of dollars each. So yeah,
not only that, they're also the ones frequently attacking civilians.
Yes, they do attack civilians, including just the other day. They attacked a civilian playing with his dog with an FPV drone. Yeah, so yeah, and they take out like civilian cars for no reason, just like parked in someone's backyard. A lot of the cars are like obviously not even functional vehicles. They just blow them up for no reason. And so this was a training ground. We don't know what this training ground was for, really. Um, like, were they training new pilots, or were they giving pilots expanded training? Like for example, they could have taken normal pilots who had proven themselves and brought them here to train them to use night vision, for example. Like that could be a reason they were training people. We don't know. But this was a training ground, and it got gimlered.
Yeah, and the reason why it got gimlered is that apparently they invited people to join for training, and they sent them those coordinates or that place basically. So
Did the people they invited, were they like Ukrainian intelligence officers?
yeah, according to, was it Romanov? I don't remember. Someone said that apparently anyone could sign up, to go for that training. So if you were some Ukrainian, you could have just signed up, waited for the invite and for the location to get to, and then send a drone to check if that's really the location. And then, yeah, that picture is what will happen next.
Yeah. It says they sent out without any verification of identity through a bot to strangers on the internet coordinates of where to go. So they automated giving out coordinates. They didn't even do it in person. Like, just imagine that. Oh man. But yeah, this group of drone pilots, I honestly have no clue how many drone pilots there are. There are a lot though. There are a lot. You can just tell. They worked in and around Mariinka. They've worked around Novomykolaivka. This is where they like the vast majority of the night vision drones are in Novomykolaivka. They I think they've been using this town as a test bed for new technology, because we've seen a lot of technology hit this area, and not just this town, but just this area here. They've used a lot of new technology here that we've never seen anywhere else. Some of them were one-offs, two-offs, and then we never saw it again. Some of them they keep using, but this is obviously a test ground that Pseudoplatov is using for new technology, including night vision drones. They also had some of those like super heavy FPV drones that carried like just giant bombs. If you remember those, we don't see those too much anymore, but they had a few of them. They're like just gigantic bombs on those FPV drones. They're like obscenely gigantic, and they work in Amerinka. They work in Avdiivka. I've geolocated their attacks in Stepova. I've geolocated them in these northern dachas, and I know that they're also attacking the southern area. I just never could geolocate the videos because the videos are like 1 second long and they're really hard to find. Um, yeah, and they've also been working in the Terney area. If you remember those leopards, that Ukraine lost like two leopards in this field right here, or whatever, in one of these fields. Uh, both of those leopards were taken out by Pseudoplatov. They also lost another leopard down here that was also lost to Pseudoplatov. And they also are operating up here in Kupiansk. So they're operating in a ton of different areas, and they also have some guys operating in Krynky. So they're operating in a ton of places. And in order to operate in this many places, you have to have a lot of pilots. Uh, when I say that Pseudoplatov was attacking civilian vehicles, I mean vehicles owned and operated by civilians. Okay. Hey Martin, if you don't like the giggling, you can come in here and you can talk. Anyways, so that's that. That's the. It made me so happy. And I woke up yesterday. Yesterday morning was terrible for me, and then I heard about that strike, and it made everything okay. Um, regarding Krynky, I don't really have any news about Krynky, to be honest. It's getting hit by airstrikes and stuff again.
Oh, we did have that T-90 destroyed, which was nice, and it's south of Oleshki, so pretty far actually.
Yeah.
But one thing which was claimed, I don't remember which Telegram channel it was that claimed it, but their statement was that many of the vehicles which we saw destroyed in Krynky were actually destroyed from the right bank with ATGM. So with Javelin and the like. I'm wondering what's the range on those and how likely is it?
4 kilometers. I don't think it's likely at all. We saw them get destroyed. Like, we have the video of them getting destroyed. Why would we think something else happened? Like, we know.
I remember one BMD, I think, was driving along the main road from the west, and I thought, that looked like an ATGM.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are ATGMs. Moving a javelin is non-trivial. They're heavy. They're heavy. They're big. Ask CJ. They're big. They're big and heavy, and I'm sure you could. Of course, you could bring it around. Like, it's man portable. It's just, I don't know how many javelins you can transport by rubber dinghy. It seems.
But that was the point, that it was not shot from the left bank, so not from Krynky itself, but instead from the right bank.
Okay, so the javelin has a range of like 4 kilometers. I guess that's
in range.
possible. Yeah.
If you get visual.
I think getting visual is easy because like, this area is all at like sea level, and this is all at like 30, 50, 60 meters. So you as long as
you have trees in between as well.
you used to. You used to have trees. Now it's just mostly destroyed. But yeah, let's go to Google Earth. Oop, it worked. Sweet. Doesn't always. Okay, so yeah, I will un ridiculousness. Let's go to 1. Okay, so this is that's the sort of view you get. I think you can see. You might not be able to see everywhere, but I think you can get into positions to see if you really wanted to. Maybe not with, like, a javelin is a little bit harder. Well, I don't know. I think it would be easier with a Stugna. Because you could put a Stugna, like, anywhere, like, on, like, you don't have to be next to the Stugna to fire it. So you could just put the Stugna somewhere and then kind of like run away and then just sit there and aim the Stugna until you see something. I think that is a much more reasonable plan than standing there with javelin. Javelins are heavy. They're big and heavy. Yeah. Because, like, I don't know, like, I wonder if you could put like a Stugna like on this wall and just kind of like look that way. Because I think a Stugna's range is like 5 kilometers. It's a little bit further. Yeah.
I wonder how well you can see through those displays at that range, though.
Well, we've seen videos where you can see a little white dot. You can see a little white dot.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. We've seen. I mean, sure. I'm sure they have ATGMs, but we've seen so many of these vehicles get destroyed by drones, and a lot of them are destroyed by not FPV drones. They're destroyed by the bombs, the big old bombs. Um, Mostly, what we see is that a vehicle gets disabled somehow. Sometimes the FPV drone, maybe sometimes something else. Sometimes it just falls in a hole, and then they can only fly the bombers at night. So they come in at night and they bomb everything they disabled that day. And man, we've seen some of those bombers drop some funky bombs. The type of bomb where you drop the bomb and then the bomber runs away because the bomb is so big. There's like, bye. Anyways, um, yeah, we have seen that Ukraine has invested a lot of drones into destroying surveillance cameras in this area, which is interesting because the surveillance cameras would be most valuable at looking for ATGMs, I think. Don't you think? Like, they can't really see the water, so you're not really looking for boats. You'd be looking at the hills.
Mhm. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. But then again, you can probably see easier with drones.
Yeah, but you have to like the camera just sits there, and I think it has like AI to spot things, and then it'll alert you when it sees something. I think that's how it works. Are Leopard ones fit for service? Leopard ones they're okay. They don't really have armor, but to be honest, armor doesn't really do anything anyway. Like, unless you have a lot of armor, like a lot of the weapons, they're either gonna blow you up or they're not. There's not really much in the middle, so I don't know if it really even matters if you don't have much armor. This is kind of like when they developed the Leopard 1, they were running on this philosophy that all weapons were so powerful that they were going to defeat your armor no matter what, so there was no point in even trying. So that was their philosophy. And that's kind of true at this point. I mean, if you're going to get hit by a giant ATGM, it's probably going to blow through your armor anyway. If you're going to get hit by a giant, you know, uh, what's the letters? I can't remember them now. APDS, discarding Sabo round. If you're going to get hit by that, it's probably going to poke through your armor anyway. So, like, if it pokes all, like, way through your armor or just a little bit through your armor, it's like you're done either way. So, I don't know. I think the Leopard one it kind of was designed for this sort of thing, I guess. But
Did you see the canister rounds which they delivered?
no,
That's 105 millimeter round, which is basically a shotgun.
it's not very nice.
Wait, I can. It wasn't technical actually. He posted it on Discord, on Twitter. I can put up the link in Discord. You can open it there and show.
Oh,
That's
boy.
that's the kind of round which they delivered. I imagine that must really suck standing there.
Oh, it's hurting my ears. Okay, let me. Oh boy, that was really loud. Okay, I'm like recovering. Yeah, it's like we're going back to the Napoleonic era. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks a bit like that. Next up are cannonballs just rolling through the the attackers.
Dude, I was watching I think it was CNN or whatever. They were interviewing these Ukrainian artillerymen, and the Ukrainians were saying this will make you laugh too. They're saying that the only ammo they had was smoke rounds, and they're like, oh, so it's like shooting a cannonball.
I think it's still going to hurt if you get hit by a smoke round directly.
Yeah. And the smoke doesn't feel good, by the way. I put the link to that thing in the description. There's a lot of links in the description now. Including we should talk about this too. How's Constantine doing? Let's see. Oh, Constantine met his goal. Look at him go. I didn't know he met his goal. He never told me.
Yeah, I think he met it today. Yesterday was still 6K or something like that away from it, right?
Yeah, so he's $450 up.
That's nice to know.
Yeah. That's cool. And honestly, anything above is still good. Because this is like it's obviously an ongoing fundraiser. So it's basically it's like an infinite fundraiser, you know? It's just like he'll probably launch like another 50,000 one in a few days. So like any number that goes above basically just gets rolled into the next one. And again, the whole point of these fundraisers is to have the resources available that they can respond as quickly as possible to need. Because you can never predict need. Yeah, that was the CNN. They delivered 4 rounds and they're all smoke. The reason I find that funny is because we never see Ukraine shoot smoke. I'm often asking, where is the smoke? I wish Ukraine had smoke right now. And then they show in the video, we only have smoke. Like, okay. Anyways, is there anything else you'd like to talk about, Kick?
Oh, I'm trying to think about it. Do you want to talk about the 47th Brigade Abrams story, which was in the news?
I never read that.
Oh, you never read that. So maybe let me just highlight or summarize real quick. So in short, the story is that the 47th Brigade was actually practicing with the Abrams tanks for their breaching operations in Robotne, and that then basically shortly before the offensive should start, they were sent back to Ukraine without the tank crew because the Abrams were delayed. Following to that, the 1st Tank Brigade, which had a battalion practiced on the Leopards, was basically attached to the 47th Brigade, and the 47th thus basically started their offensive with tanks which they have not practiced with for the breaching operations. And now some people claim that that might be one of the reasons why the offensive has failed, or why there were so many losses.
Okay. I don't really buy that, but
I mean, we did hear some people in the 47th Brigade saying that they basically rode into battle on a Leopard, which they had never seen before. So I guess that could explain that.
Yeah, but is it really that different?
Like, I guess it depends. It depends on what the Leopard crews were trained for. 1st Tank Brigade.
Yeah.
You know, I
mean,
think
I'm assuming. Okay, so first off, the Abrams is not an offensive vehicle. It was never meant to be. It's not an offensive vehicle. It's a defensive vehicle. It's designed to be hulled down. It doesn't have hull armor basically. Like its hull armor is like 38 millimeters at an angle of a stupid angle. It's like a crazy like a 93-degree angle or something. Not 93. It's like 83 or something. Anyway, so or 7 or whatever, however you want to look at it. So its hull armor is remarkably weak, and it's designed so that it hulls down and shoots things. That's like it has giant cheek armor that like is really difficult to penetrate, and it just sits there with its optics and its hunter killer system, and goes poop poop poop. Okay, like that's kind of like the whole point of the Abrams. Like that's just like design philosophy. And the Leopard is much more mobile. I mean, I think they're roughly the same speed, but the Leopard is more designed for mobility. I don't know. I don't really buy that. Like, I'm assuming they at least knew how to use a Leopard. Like if you're telling me they literally only trained on an Abrams and then were just thrown into a Leopard with no training, that'd be one thing. But if you're talking about the training was on formations and stuff, and I don't see a difference.
I think that's more of the point, because I assume that the battalion, which was then attached to the 47th with the Leopards, I assume that the crew basically remained in the Leopards, which also practiced on the Leopard before. That's at least my assumption. And I think that the 47th tank crews, which remained in Germany for training with the Abrams, that they didn't need to suddenly sit inside of a Leopard. So it's more about formation and but what I do think is that if the tank crews of the 47th were specially trained basically for that breaching operation, given the entire layout of the Robotyne area, that of course is a difference, because I assume that they're also practicing on the minefields and so on.
I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. What is an Abrams gonna do in a minefield anyway? It can't do anything.
It's more about the crews basically knowing where something is, I guess. Yeah. In the end, it probably comes down to command knowing where something is and telling, the rest what to do.
I don't buy it. This plan to attack Robotyne would not have succeeded no matter what. There was no chance of it ever succeeding. There was no amount of tanks. There's no amount of training. Nothing would have made this succeed. It was a failure on the draft board. This plan had no chance. It was stupid, and they shouldn't have done it. I don't care, like, or Abrams, or are 30 Abrams. If you're saying, like, our 2,000 Abrams, like, maybe that would make it. It's 30. Our 30 Abrams were here. That's why we lost. It doesn't make sense. They didn't lose because of tanks. They lost because they had no chance. They were tasked to do something impossible. The whole plan was hinging on Russia not defending and running away in panic. And the second Russia did not run away in panic, they should have just aborted everything. Um, so basically, Ukraine's plan was they started in Novodanilivka. Their plan was to capture Robotyne within 24 hours. To get the Tokmak, I believe it was like within 3 days, and to then launch assaults towards Melitopol. So, or Melitopol, whatever. So that was kind of their goal. In actual fact, they got to around here in the first few hours, well, not there. They pushed down like this. They pushed down to around here in the first few hours. They were demolished by ATGMs that were sitting on this hill. They then captured that hill and then pushed down to roughly here. I believe in the morning of the second day, and then it took them 30 days to go from there to there. Like that was like what? That was okay. Or not even. I think it was actually 60 days to go that. Like what? And in the meantime, they like tried like attacking down this flank and got massacred. And this whole plan, it fell apart immediately. It all fell apart. First, it was the ATGMs on this hill, and then second, it was the helicopters who are like all flying like right here. The helicopters destroying everything. What's an Abrams going to do to a helicopter? What's an Abrams going to do to these ATGMs shooting you in the flank? I don't get it. Like, no Abrams was going to fix that. They were never going to get. They're never going to capture Robotin on the first day. How are you? This last mile was insane. They didn't know how to. They didn't have the ability to break through this last mile. They thought they could just bum rush it, and they couldn't because there were helicopters. If there was a weapon to take care of the helicopters, that might have changed it. If they'd like attack them, maybe. But even without the helicopters, you still have to get through the minefield. And even when they got rid of the ATGMs on this hill, there was still this hill over here. They took them forever to get rid of. I don't buy it. And Abrams is going to get destroyed by an ATGM just as easily as a Leopard. The Abrams turret can bounce an ATGM. So can a Leopard turret. And the Leopards did. We have video of them bouncing ATGMs. We have video of a Leopard getting hit by 3 ATGMs in a row and taking no damage, just driving away.
So there was a comment with regards to Rob and Kaufman's statements in terms of they shouldn't have, split across the front line and focused on that angle.
It's because they need that. Their careers hinge on people believing that, and it's just nonsense. I'm sick of it. Like, I'm sick of people is harping on this. The plan had no chance of success. There's a 0% chance of success. There was no combination of events that would have led to Ukraine taking Tokmak this summer. There's none. There's no ability. There's no ability to break through. Ukraine didn't even break through the first line. They didn't even break through. They never got to the second line. They never even got to the third line. And there's more lines behind that. The Tokmak has like 3 lines around it. It was never going to happen. This whole plan hinged on Russia not fighting. And Russia was never going to not fight. They were never going to just run away. It was never going to happen.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's exactly where they expected the attack to be.
Yeah, so. This is exactly where everybody...
Like, I was joking about that attack a couple of times before because it was so obvious that everyone would want to attack there that I thought it's so stupid no one's going to do it.
Everyone was joking about this. I was talking to Ukrainian officers, and they called this the triangle. The triangle is it's Tokmak, Lohi, and what's this place called?
Vasilivka.
Yeah,
Vasilivka.
Yeah, Vasilivka. So this is the triangle, and this triangle attacking anywhere in it is suicide. And this is where Ukraine attacked the middle of it. Like, you don't attack here. You just don't. This was stupid. It was bad. It was never going to succeed. This extended the war by at least a year. It almost lost the war, honestly, and it could. The repercussions of this could end up losing the war for Ukraine. This was a disaster. It has nothing to do with America. It has nothing to do with any other country. It has nothing to do with what supplies were given. This plan had no chance of success. Why did they do it? Arrogance. That's why. It was arrogance. Because they saw their little attack in Kharkiv was a success. They had their attack in Kherson was a success, and they said, we're unstoppable. We're going to win a whole war in 1 year. And then this is what happened. It's a disaster. It's a train wreck. I wouldn't have attacked at all. I would have done smaller attacks around Verkhnokamianka. I would want to capture this oil refinery. I would have done smaller attacks around Krasnohorivka. That sort of thing. Small, very small attacks. No big investments. Just improve your defensive positions. Because taking the Lysychansk oil refinery would really improve the defense of Siversk. And it's not a big ask. It's moving a few kilometers. You don't even have to get the whole way. Even if you get partially there, you can call it a victory. You don't have to commit a ton of resources. I'm not talking about sending like 10 brigades, sure. Okay. But I think any amount of progress in that area would have been really good. And the same around Avdiivka, any progress there would have been good. Around here in like the Vuhledar area, like maybe moving down towards Vladimirivka, that would have been good. Just things like that. That's what I would. Nothing big. I think any big attack was not good. I think Ukraine's path to victory is through attrition. No. I mean, if you attack the Velika Novosilka area, this didn't go anywhere either. And it had huge casualties. This area had enormous casualties. And it didn't really achieve anything. I think this position is probably slightly better. Like this whole area around Rabatina, this is completely unstable. Like Ukraine now has to like dump resources here just to keep it. Over here, at least this is somewhat stable. They can kind of just defend it the way it is. It was just unnecessary. There's no point in an offensive. It didn't achieve anything. It prolonged the war. It was a catastrophe domestically. Like it made people not want to join the military anymore. When they're having this huge mobilization problem, they don't have enough troops, and then they did that. So it hurt them internationally with aid and with just general international support. And it just look back at spring. The Russians really were at a low point in spring, just like morale wise, their image wise, they were at a really low point. And Ukraine just picked them up and put them back on their feet and said, "Go get them, slugger." That's what they did, and it's a train wreck.
On top of that, they were worried about the Ukrainian offensive.
Yeah,
they were really worried. Every little attack that Ukraine made, Russian Telegram always exaggerated and feared that that's now the big attack. So they were scared of it.
Yes. And then they did the stupidest thing. I think, like, I really think Ukraine should have hyped up an offensive and just kept hyping it and hyping it and hyping it and never actually did it. I thought that's what they were doing, honestly. And I thought it was kind of genius because it would have made the Russians just keep freaking out and freaking out. And eventually, like you just say, like, oh, we're gonna attack tomorrow. We'll attack the next day. Like, we're just gonna keep attacking. Just keep putting out hype videos, like videos of like Budanov, like saying hush, hush. It's just like keep putting out videos. I think that would have been smart because they didn't need to attack. This war is not going to be won on the battlefield. This war is never going to end by winning this city or winning that town. That's not how this war ends. This war ends when Russia gives up. This is going to take the elite in Russia, whether that's Putin or someone else, deciding that Russia can't win anymore and that it's not worth fighting anymore. That's how this war ends. It's not hindsight. None of this is hindsight. This was all forced. We all knew this. If you asked me, I did streams about this last January. How this offensive was a train wreck in the making. This is not hindsight. I was talking about this the whole time. I was talking about this. If you look at my Twitter timeline, I was talking about how attacking Tokmak would be an unmitigated disaster. I was talking about this on June 6th. That was after the offensive started. It was before we knew what they were doing and after it started already. Okay. That I was still talking about it then. This is not new. This is not hindsight. This is not like this everything what happened in this offensive was the most likely outcome. In fact, I've said this before, I think Ukraine made more progress than they should have. Ukraine actually did better than they should have. And I think the reason why they did better than they should have, because I didn't actually expect them to get this far. I thought they would end around here. I think the reason they had this much success is because they were willing to take so many more casualties than I thought they would be willing to take. And that's not a good thing. That actually makes it worse. Once Kopani falls, they're not even attacking Kopani. What are they going to attack it with? They don't even have functional offensive brigades anymore. What do you mean when Kopani falls? Anyways. I just hope they don't repeat this mistake.
Yeah. Well, I can say they were attacking the north of Kopani, what was it, 4 months ago? I think 128th Brigade. And what you see there is as far as they got. And since then, nothing happened.
There was that green eyeball. That's weird, this green eyeball here. A lot of pretty heavy shelling. Well, it's not heavy, but there's a lot of shelling here. I don't know what that's about. I don't know who's shooting that. But
well, from what I can tell is, I mean, today there's a video from Spartan Brigade, just like a bit west of Robatne, where the Leopards were lost. So Russia was attacking there, basically to the left of your green eyeball next to Robatne.
mm-hmm.
And Russia seems to be operating on that tree line, which you have marked as the Russian front line, going north. I just don't see how Ukraine would be attacking towards the west there. So it might be Ukrainian shelling.
Yep. Yeah, and then Ukraine has these positions near Nasteryanka, which are somewhat interesting. But they've not moved. I would say it's interesting, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes, every time I see a video from 503rd Brigade of the Russians, every time I see a video from them, first of all, I know exactly where they're shelling. It's always that tree line. And secondly, I start thinking that maybe it's one night of shelling, which was 2 hours long, and they split it into, I don't know, 100 2-minute videos. Now they're sharing 2-minute videos with us every couple of weeks. I don't know.
Yeah. How do you feel about these green eyeballs? You've found some videos on these green eyeballs so far, right?
Oh yeah, the one south of Bilorivka. That
Yeah.
was interesting. Yeah. So this is something which I think I mentioned before, and it really often happens that a green eyeball leads to some solid geolocation just shortly after, and this was the case here again.
Yeah. That's why they're so useful. They really tell us more than like everything else does. Yeah. I would be surprised if we see something about this little eyeball here at some point. This was probably a Russian assault. Yeah. Yeah, this little green eyeball made me change the map too. Uh yeah. These green eyeballs are interesting. This green eyeball is the one that Russia may have captured now. All the little green eyeballs.
Did you see the post from Stanislav Osman, by the way?
No. Oh, that reminds me. There's a post I wanted to show because I think it's funny. Actually, it's not really funny. It's just have you seen this one? I'm assuming
Yeah.
you've seen this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it on 10 different channels.
Yeah. But this video it's a little robot. He's building a minefield and he has a whole bunch of mines on a string and there he goes.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I'm assuming you saw the companion video to this. Did you see?
I'm not sure, but I saw another video by the Russians yesterday, and they said that they were laying mines with drones, but UAVs.
No, there's a companion video to this one, which is another drone. It's like the same drone, but instead of bringing mines on a string, it had a MIC cable on a string, and it was driving into the minefield. So it just drives into the minefield, drops the the charge, and then drives home, and then they blow up the charge. So yeah, these little robots can build a minefield, or they can destroy the minefield. The multi-purpose robot. Yeah, this I was going to make a thumbnail with that robot saying the future is now old man, but I didn't have time. Anyway, what were you saying?
Oh, that post by Stanislav Osman. He's talking about the current situation, basically, with the soldiers. I thought that was interesting. I also shared it on Discord. But
I don't see it. Oh, right there.
so because sometimes, sometimes people perceive you or us as dooming, but
No.
what you read from
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty much what we hear all the time. Yeah. Attrition is working. Attrition is working really well. It's just that it takes time. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take probably another year of attrition before we really see its effects. And this year is going to be the worst year for Ukraine. This year didn't have to be bad. It didn't have to be, but they did their offensive. That was a train wreck. If they didn't do that offensive, this year would be a lot easier. But they did it, and now it's really hard. Because not only did the offensive fail, but they used all the resources they had to do it, and they don't have any resources left. And I mean all their resources. They used all of their political support. They used all of their ammo. They used all of their domestic support. And they used all of their combat capable men to do an offensive. They used everything they had, every drop. They squeezed every drop out, and it was a complete failure. And now they have to survive this year. Next year, I think it's going to be a lot different. But we're going to have to get through like another 10 months of really bad. And I don't know where Ukraine is going to get more combat power. It's not because Ukraine lacks the men, like there's like the human beings are in Ukraine, but they're not mobilizing them. And Ukraine is very reliant on their allies training soldiers. So it's not even so much that Ukraine has to mobilize people. It's also that like the British and the Germans have to train more soldiers. And I don't even know if they're capable of doing that. Like maybe the British are, but I don't think the Germans really are. I don't really know. But maybe you'd need the French or the Americans. The Americans aren't going to do it, so maybe the French could do it. Like I don't know. You're going to need somebody to train the troops, and Ukraine isn't really capable of it, and they're not mobilizing, so there's nobody to train anyway. Yeah, Ukraine did lose a lot in the offensive. They really did. But anyways, that's all I have to really talk about. Would you like any last word, Kick?
I'm trying to think about it, but nothing comes to mind, to be honest.
People
It's crazy.
People were like, "Oh, Andrew's happy today." I was happy. This is me happy. See, there's a difference. I can be happy and tell you bad news at the same time. See? I just did it. I told you really bad news while being happy simultaneously. Because you know why, Gick? I'm post-doom.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the stream for today. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.